Do you remember the
Shit. Did I leave the stove on?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the Opie-Verse episode 33. Sorry to the Irish out there. Good evening, one and all. Good evening to everybody here. Make some noise for me, please. Let me know you're in the chat. Hit that like button. Let everybody else know that it is worth taking part. And what I have done as well, that I always forget to do, is I've run a poll, because tonight, as I'm sure you're all aware, we have a returning guest. Now, some of you absolutely are here for our returning guest, but some of you are here not knowing much about our guest whatsoever. So tonight is a good reintroduction for those who knew him, and a good introduction for those of you who don't know him or don't know him like the rest of us do. But there's a poll there, so let us know if you know our guest before tonight, really, and before the last couple of weeks with him making that big impact back on the scene. But we'll get to him in a sec. Well, I don't know. I was going to say about my week, but let's be honest, it's been pretty boring. You can ask any questions that you have, but other than that, it's nothing really to tell. You know, just had a nice little barbecue earlier, a little bit of heartburn, as we Brits and our Northers like to have, but no beer. So just trying to, I've got a suit to fit in 2 weeks' time. So hitting the gym, hitting the treadmill, hitting the water, just, yeah, trying to just burn off those couple excess. But let's be honest. Let's shut up about that. Let's shut up about me. Let's get on to our guest. What can be said about this fella? Well, he was in the prime of his life, in his TikTok life and his BrickLink life. It was about this time last year, and then he jetted off and had what I hope was an amazing experience. What I hear was an amazing experience, but we're going to learn a lot more about that tonight. As he studied abroad, he's now back, faster, stronger, meaner, leaner, bolder, all of the years than ever. So, and I'm keen to find out not only how the last year has been, but also what the future has planned. Now the obstacles are clear, and he's got a clean track to run at. But anyway, less about that, less about me waffling. I give you a Rhys, I give you a Mr. Bricks4Pennies. Good evening, mate.
Hello, guys. Hello. I can hear you all screaming. Yes, it's me, Bricks4Pennies. That's a joke. No worries. But thank you for having me on, OP. I do appreciate it, and I did just want to say, congratulations on 33 episodes of the Opie-Verse. That is crazy. That takes some dedication. So I'm well done with that.
Thank you. There probably have been more, but in your absence, in your solitude, well, not solitude, but solitude from us, what I did, so I had like a Christmas special with like just a load of people on, and we just kind of got drunk and built Lego and talked about Lego and the year and all that. And then what I've done throughout is I've hosted like specials. So when there's been a new show on Disney Plus, or a new wave of Legos come out, like I've done specials with group guests where we come on and we talk about it together. And now they aren't numbered, so probably closer to 40. I've obviously had a few weekends off because we've gone past a year. I don't think it's been quite a year since, because I think you were like episode 5, I think.
Something like that. Yeah.
Might be, yeah, you were very early, but I don't think we've hit a year yet, because I remember we caught you literally like a week or two before you went away. But yeah, last week was the 1 year anniversary of the first episode with Rolo, if you remember that. If you even remember Rolo, remember him? Nobody ever seen him.
Is it Rolo or Rolo?
It's Rolo.
Rolo. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I've always
Yeah.
said Rowlo. All right.
I know. And like you also say Dowick when it's Dowick.
Dowick. Same thing.
Dowick.
Dowick.
Dowick. Yeah. And that's come from
Oh,
him.
right.
So
Oh,
that's come from him. But yeah, you just make your own. How are you, mate?
yeah.
How's I suppose we just got to jump straight in. First, before you even get to Taiwan, like what happened with your flights and like what happened there?
Right. What in terms of just getting there to begin with?
Well, I feel like you delayed or you missed the flight or they wouldn't let you on and then you had to come
Ah,
home and then
oh,
you got there eventually. But yeah, what happened there? Because we were all following you through like very broken stories where it's not like you to kind of give us half of the story and not really know what's going on.
I did. The thing is, I did want to like document everything a bit more with Taiwan, but before I go into the story, I had to delete TikTok for the majority of my like stay over there because TikTok, it's such a love-hate relationship. It's one of the most enjoyable social medias to be on, but the cheap dopamine that you get from it is you scroll and you can sit there for 2 hours and that's 2 hours your day gone, right? Anyway, so I wasn't on TikTok for a large portion of the previous year, and I'm still having problems with it now, even though I obviously have to have TikToks. I'm making content, and then anyway,
Yeah.
I'll get back to the story. So I drove up to Bristol, and then they said, "Yep, your flight has been changed to X date," and so it was like 2 days after. That's about it, really. But I had to, because the annoying thing is, because the date had been changed 2 days, the PCR test I had taken was invalid, so I had to travel all the way to London to get one like as soon as possible because didn't have enough time to wait for wait for another one. PCR test, that's a thing of the past now, and then we have to do that to travel anymore.
So I went to Vegas in June and we did a lateral flow, but we did a video lateral flow. So we like bit like this, and then there was a woman on the other end who observed us do it. But whilst we were in Vegas, they then confirmed you wouldn't have to do that anymore.
Right. Oh.
So
it's all becoming a thing of the past, I think, at the moment.
It is. Nice. It is. It is indeed. But talk to us about Taiwan. Did you ever make it home at all through your time in Taiwan, or did you end up just riding it through in Awana?
Yeah. So I would have come home, but it's because me and my ex-girlfriend were now
no longer Mrs. Pennies.
No longer Mrs. Pennies. Like we broke up whilst I was over there. Yes, and I just want to say there's someone on my TikTok and he's commented on about 2 or 3 videos and he said, "Did you stop your Bricks4Pennies because your girlfriend broke up with you?" No, this is a rumor. This is not true.
Who started that rumor?
I'd have to find the TikTok comments, but I don't know where that come from. But I was anyway, that's not true. And I did see a few of my followers are commenting on her videos. And it was funny. It was funny. Don't do that now. I'm not saying to do this now. It was funny. It's a thing now. Anyway, all good there, all friends. But this is also why I've got this new spare bedroom all to myself with a single bed. Yeah. Anyway,
living the dream.
Yes, a lot's changed here actually. So I'm not homeless. I'm not homeless. No, I kind of I do have a home, but it's more like temporary. Anyway, we won't go into that right now. But where do we get to?
But you haven't even told us about Taiwan yet.
All right. This is going to be a long episode, I think. We haven't quite got to Taiwan, right?
I must say, you must be glad to be home now and that you weren't going to Taiwan this September because it's getting pretty dicey out there at the minute.
Yeah. See, I was talking to someone today, and it was a topic of conversation where, it's like they waited for me to leave. It was moments after I left. I feel like it's my world and everyone's living in it. Xi Jinping waited for me to depart Taiwan. and now I'm okay back in it. That's a joke. I don't actually think that's the case. I don't know.
You never know.
Yeah,
never
you
know.
never, you never know. See, I am Bricks4Pennies. See, that is anyway, quarantined for a while. Deleted TikTok. I thought I'm gonna bash out the Lego grind in Taiwan. I'm gonna fill the market. No, it's bloody crazy. It really is. You're buying like I thought like an half trooper over there, and it was like £28 equivalent. It was bloody, like
No.
the not the arc trooper, the half one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I looked. That was when I got off the plane. I was looking right. I was just like, this is not going to be my market. And there's also a lot of fake Lego over there at the moment. Like, so I think that is another problem.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, my headphones are dying. That is not optimum. Anyway, so that's why I didn't do Lego. Also, I say this, but I did. Did you see me quite active in the groups? Did you?
I did. I saw you kind of popping up in every now and then and seeing like buying. I'm looking for bundles of minifigures and like who's got what and willing to pay X amount. And I know you kind of you were quite successful with it, from what I observed.
I was quite lucky, really. So I was putting the money into the Lego quite early into the year, and with how I talk to people I want to buy things from, I always get more from the deal. I'm always looking for more than the original deal, right? This is something you gotta. This is a B4P tip, right? And I probably shouldn't be telling you guys this, but you go in. A lot of people don't do this, and I don't know whether it's just they haven't thought about it too much or it's just out of the scope of whatever. But whenever you go into these deals with these collectors, they've always got more to sell, right? They're not just selling 20 figures. These are 20 figures that they don't have quite that much. The sentimental value is kind of not quite there with these 20 figures, right? And usually they're older men, and the money is a little bit more important, especially in these times. And you say, "Oh, what else you got?" He's like, "Yeah, I am trying to sell out my collection. I'm not sure what to sell, this and that." And you kind of get your way in. Yeah, I got a bit of money. I can do that. I can do the XYZ, and you can wiggle your way in. It sounds a little bit. It doesn't sound too good when I say you can wiggle your way in, but that's kind of how it works. So you go in with the original deal, and you squeeze like another 3-4 deals out of the same kind of dealer. You know, it's like you keep tapping the mark. There's a saying for that, isn't it? You can keep tapping into the well, something along those lines.
Yeah.
No,
it's true though. Like one of my tips is, even when you're just buying up on Facebook Marketplace, when people are selling, a lot of people see like a set, like, I don't know, for example, just like Luke's land speeder. I'll just say that for an example because there's like a million of them and they're always on Facebook. But a lot of people see it and be like, "Oh, I don't want Luke's land speeder," and move on. But then when you click into the listing, then click into the seller and you see all of their listings with Lego. Quite often you'll see, like, I don't see as many bulk sales of Lego anymore on Marketplace. People know now to like sell them set by set, and then if somebody comes in and is like, "Oh, well, I'll buy the lot off you," like that's a bonus. But there's nobody's like selling one figure or 5 figures and that's all they have to sell now. But I suppose it's changing a little bit as well because of like how the world is right now, and because like a lot of people need to sell up to keep the lights on or to feed themselves or put fuel in the car and all that. And ultimately it creates a bit of a recession really within the Lego market, because then you've got more people buying. Well, sorry, you've got more people selling than you have buying, so that brings prices down a little bit. But it's it's definitely very different than it was 2 years ago. That's for sure. The market.
I did see on one of your videos where you were saying you were seeing more collectors selling their collections, and I think this is very true. And this was something I was very worried about when I came back, because I had just over. I guess I won't go into specific numbers, but I had like I still do have a lot of stock that I just I've been a bit lazy, really. I just I haven't got, but I got a few ideas of what I want to do with it. But I had a decent amount of stock, but I was worried that I just wouldn't be able to shift it right, because I could see myself that the market was kind of changing a little bit. But no, I think maybe I don't know whether it's because I have very amazing followers on TikTok. They're so crazy and I love them so much, or whether it's like I had desirable stuff, but it just sells out like as soon as I can't get it on there quick enough. Hopefully, really.
So, a couple of things from my observation. I don't like that, by the way. I'm going to push that back out. So, a couple of things from my perspective. One, you're a minifigure seller. You don't dabble in. I know you have. I think, if I'm correct in thinking, you've still got some of those 501st packs.
Two, yeah. I have to practically give these away. I think I've got way too many. I sold all the figures, but I've got to find something to do with these 501st sets. But yeah, scary.
Thanks, JB. JB, what do you count as the new setup, by the way? Because if it's because it's cleaner, it's because we've upgraded to full HD. Then thanks for noticing. If it's not that, why didn't you notice? And what did you know? What have you noticed has changed? Yeah, so I think the fact that you deal in minifigures absolutely helps, because the vast majority of collectors are collecting minifigures over sets. I think you have that awareness. You have this, like, you're like the Pied Piper with like the kids of TikTok sometimes, and like you've just drawn them back in. So you've got that, and it's funny because I was going to ask you when you and I talked about jumping on a TikTok live and chatting through and all of that, and we just haven't done it, and that's why we're here tonight. But I was going to ask, are you seeing that a lot? Because I feel it, and now it might be difficult because I'm kind of talking with different people in the Lego TikTok community now, like even like people like Doic, like how much we spoke last year. Barely see him, he barely posts anymore. It's very different community in that respect. But for that reason, I don't really see the kids anymore. Like I probably see them in the comments and stuff, but I'm not interacting with them in the same way. So from my perception, it's like they've gone, but I suppose they haven't really, because they've kind of come out of the woodwork as soon as you've come out and played the pipe, and they've all come following as well and like snapping up stuff. So I think you definitely have like that side of it going for you as well. Like you have that kind of strong following. But yeah, I think the minifigure stuff, and then obviously that big order you got. I mean, you must have thought you were dreaming when that order came in.
Yeah, it was. Actually, I wasn't too. It sounds quite strange.
I can just say, by the way, Rhys, he's good for it. If you can get JB Bricks a sealed Revan, he's good for spicy things.
I remember they came up on Amazon. So I remember buying 5 packets of the Ravens at one point. I don't know if you remember. I had them on my store.
I remember. Yeah, because Stevie Skywalker bought one of you, didn't he?
Yeah, I just saw like sealed ones on Amazon. I was like, this is crazy, and I just bought them all, and I listed them up. This the kind of crazy stuff. It just the stuff like that just falls into your lap once you kind of attract it in a way. It's like, why was I on Amazon? Why did I think I saw it on a Facebook post, and some guy said he just got it, and I just went straight there. And yeah, it's just time and place. It was really nice. It was.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah, tell us about this big order.
So I wasn't too. Initially, I wasn't too happy because I genuinely want my followers. I want to dissipate these figures among my followers, right? And these figures are going, like, obviously it's good. I've made a nice order, and obviously these figures are going to the States to another seller who puts them up for a higher markup. I imagine he sells them a little bit slower, but he sells them for a lot more, right? And he's in need of the stock, and I doubt he's watching, but I wanted a video. I actually wanted a video call with this guy because I'm sending here like £1,000 worth of stuff.
Was it Epic Bricks?
No, it wasn't Epic Bricks. No.
Your delay there, I was like, I fucking nailed it. It's Epic Bricks.
But no, it's just it's a bit of a business guy, quite a big store, I was like, I really appreciate a call with you because it's quite a large order for me, and I'd like to build up some reports so there's no issues. And he goes, no, I don't do that. Send them as quick. Send them. He's like, send them now. It's been too long already. Like you've been waiting. You've been waiting 2 days or something. And I was like, so I just packed them up. I didn't want to. I think there's a cultural difference between the Americans and the British in terms
Definitely
of
is.
how we communicate. And I'm a bit dumbfounded with how he'd replied. And I made sure to like be real secure on the shipping and get the tracking and sent over because PayPal are holding, and they still are holding, a lot of money because I haven't used it for a year, and then I've come back, and then there's like a few thousand going through like within a 1 day, and it looks a bit suspicious. So that's the gist of that. So I would have preferred, in an ideal world, and not that I'm not happy that I got the sale, the order, I would have preferred to have the figures for a little bit longer and maybe just sell like 3 at a time to people that I know, people in the community. So then you build that up again. But it made a good video, so it was okay.
I know you've said in the past that you've even been reluctant to sell specific figures because they look good on your store, and even though people don't buy them, people will come into your store because there is like a phase 2 Rex. You'll have a phase 2 Rex, and people are like just want to come and window shop. But then whilst they're there, they'll be like, oh, well, I'll pick up a 501st Trooper or something instead, or I'll pick up the Punk, whatever it may be. They'll pick up some like more affordable items. So yeah, I think like I understand. Like you're the only salesperson that I know that doesn't want to make big sales.
Yeah, well, the big sales, it's not that they're less profitable. I just if you sell to more people, you build rapport with more people, they're more inclined to come back to the business, and then over time you're gonna make more revenue in that kind of respect, because the guy that bought from me is only buying from me when he sees a huge quantity of stuff, and then there's no kind of report there. And I'm a reseller to myself. I don't like, if I'm selling to someone that's selling to like make money from me, it makes me feel like I've underpriced my figures, but I know that the market's a bit different in the States.
Yeah.
I did want to show you one thing actually. So I priced these I think when the figures are super rare, you can price them a little bit more because of if it's not in the UK, the supply is low, and so I like having these on my store, and together these are like nearly £300, right? But
is that the clone loot? Oh no, it's Wolf. Is that Wolf?
Wolf. I think this is Wolf, or it could be
Is it Wolf or the Wolf?
Oh, it's a clone. It's a clone. Yeah. It's a clone one. Yeah.
And then it's the Jedi.
Yeah, I've got 2 of those Jedis, and also I've got the one of my favorite. And I do get sentimental with these figures, like, because I know they're rare and a lot of people like them, and I like the fact that people like them, and it's just they're just so sexy.
Nice. And they're like, what are they worth now? About 60, 70
like 60 each, something. Yeah. So it's nice. It's nice to have it on the store, and also it's not easy to get in stock unless you're looking all the time, and I just don't have the time for that amongst my hobbies and whatnot, and university. Doing some preemptive studying for that anyway.
So I was going to say, because was that the plan that you come back and then go to uni for another year? Is that right?
Yeah. So I'll finish uni this year, hopefully with a first. I'm sitting at a high 2 after my second year. I put that with COVID because I had to do all my studying and all my university like work in the attic, right? And it's so dimly lit. In the winter, it's freezing cold. In the summer, I'm just sweating profusely. It was to the point where I actually had to submit this application for like extended time on my assignment because I couldn't sit in the attic. I had to wear 3 layers. It was so cold, and because I can't sit downstairs because my girlfriend's mum, ex-girlfriend's mum was working from home, and the ex-missus was also doing whatever she was doing downstairs, and it just didn't. It was just not an optimal environment. But I'm hoping to dominate that first for my third year. I'm quite confident as well. I'm confident that I can land that first class, but it will mean I will have to compromise how much time I put into Lego, and I probably won't be getting a part-time job this year. Because I was working like 20, 30 hours in my first year.
It's the right thing to do, though, isn't it? It's the right thing to do, and it's the good thing is you can control your activity by not buying as much, but obviously you'll have to fulfill your orders when they come in, but you can absolutely do that. You can close your store at any time, like when it comes to dissertation time and all of that. Remind us, what are you studying again?
I'm studying law at the moment, so yeah.
Okay.
I don't like saying it. I feel very. I typically, when I go abroad and I say, "Oh, I'm a law student," it gets. I don't like the energy it kind of carries when I say it, but yeah, I'm studying law at the moment.
There's no shame in that. We need lawyers, and only the smartest and the brightest can pursue that. So, what do you know what you want to do with it yet? So I remember rightly, you weren't particularly looking to be a solicitor, or you just wanted that kind of knowledge. Yeah.
The degree in itself is good to have. I think after I finish this year, I'll contemplate, weigh up my options. I have a few things I want to do now, actually, that will start to generate some nice income and whatever. I want to get into property as soon as I can. We have among me and a few buddies, we merely have the means to get into this this property sphere, because I have a few buddies. They've graduated now, and with their graduate jobs. They're smart guys. They're doing very well for themselves. I'm very proud of them, and in terms of getting a mortgage and a loan, it reflects very well when they have a very high paid job on their when they're currently in a very high paid job. But they'll have to be in that job for a little while before we can move forward with that. But I don't know. I feel so free I just feel very free in what I can do, and I don't feel trapped by anything. I feel like I can do anything I want, and by the end of this year, I'll probably go traveling again, and South America, I'm thinking, or even Japan. I might go teach some skiing in Japan or something crazy. I don't know, just get out of England for a bit more longer.
Why not? With the property, what do you fancy? Property development, property investment?
Yeah, so I have very close ties with my dad's best friend, who's a timber framer by trade, and he has his own timber framing business. And I've talked to him a little bit about he kind of wants to do this kind of thing as well. He recently injured his back, so he's been pushing pen pushing a little bit more in management in a timber frame company, and he's very clued up on all of the trades, and there's an angle to get into business with him at some point as well. Given I do that, that would be we'd either be renovating property or we'd be building it from scratch, given that we would buy land together, which sounds crazy. I think that it really does sound crazy, but mind you, this is a few years in the future. This is when
How old are you though? Are you 20, 21 yet?
I'm 20. Actually 21 in 10 days.
I thought you were going to say like hours there. I was like, what?
No.
No, I just and I think this is a bit of a testament to your generation as well, though, that when I was 20-year-old, I was in Magaluf every summer, I wasn't thinking about that, and my perceptions were very different. So absolutely kind of hats off and applaud you for doing so, and it's good to have that. And I suppose with social media and the way how differently we consume information now, and now we're exposed to a different way of kind of living life and investing and all of that. Like it only kind of furthers that. So it gives you that opportunity to kind of take those, gives you insight that just I didn't have available at 20-year-old, but it's still up to you to go and kind of exploit it, which you're doing.
Yeah.
What's interesting, Rhys, is the way I look at it, and I've said to a couple of the guys, and I ran the poll earlier on, so only around, so I haven't got my glasses on, but I was interested to see how many people knew you from, like who are watching tonight, who knew you from back then, and how many people are getting to know you for the first time. And so it's probably about 2 to 1 know you from before. So, but I can't see how many people, and we'll keep an eye on that throughout the night. And if you haven't voted on the poll, hit that and hit the like button as well. See, getting good at this YouTube game. The sometimes the way I perceive you and Bricks4Pennies, the account, and especially since maybe a bit more since you came back, but maybe it's because of that kind of more exposure to other people doing similar things, is I wouldn't describe you primarily as a Lego account. I would describe you primarily as like one of these like money business accounts. And you're, you know, like where you talk about people flipping houses and they show how much they've spent, and like, this is what I bought, this is what we did, and then this is what I flipped it for and stuff like that. But that's all about money and investment and stuff like that. But I've kind of had that thought from the last time that we spoke here, because you talked so much about investments and stuff, and just kind of like it, Lego is the thing that we all see, but you've got a lot more behind you. But I do see kind of that association with what you're doing, and I think it's really cool, because a lot of, I know you're a Lego fan and you're a Star Wars fan and stuff like that, but you're a money fan, for especially when it comes to Bricks4Pennies. Like you're like that's you enjoy that side of it. But so I think there's a clear gap for you there. But you know, as you foresee, and I know you're a little bit out, but do you see that? And do you enjoy that side of it, like that kind of like business acumen side of it from a social media perspective? And if you then went into property development or property investment, would you kind of become, I don't know, like Properties4Pennies or something like that? Would you kind of have that side of it? Like, do you enjoy the limelight and kind of showing off what you're not showing off in like the bragging sense, but like sharing kind of your experience and bringing everybody along for the ride?
Well, you did mention, I've set up a few little brands. Nothing to like, I put too much effort, like time into at the moment. But like for TikTok accounts, like because I'm quite heavily invested into cryptocurrencies. I have a Crypto4Pennies Instagram account where I just inform, and I provide different facts and information. I haven't done that too much. I was doing that quite a bit in Taiwan, and I was editing the posts quite nicely on Canva. It takes a lot of time, and but the market kind of crashed, and when the market's crashed, people exit the market.
Yeah,
they don't want to look at crypto. They start to the sentiment changes, right? So it's not the best time to keep making that content. The crypto market moves in cycles, and inevitably there will be another bull run, and that's the perfect time to start up the Crypto4Pennies account again, because that's when all the sentiment comes back in the market. Oh, crypto's the new way to pay, and at the moment people don't want to deal with it. But that's the best time to invest as well. Not financial advice, not financial advice though.
When Elon and Tesla sold out on Bitcoin, that was kind of everything just took a hit, didn't it? And I sometimes I don't watch the podcast itself, but I always watch like bites of it, of the impulsive. Because Logan Paul's really kind of grown on me over the last year or so. But he talks about like, because they're all big advocates of, is it Ethereum? And they use like Ethereum for everything, and like NFTs and all that. But yeah, that kind of fell through its arse as well. So here's one, because I might need you to educate me here. What's your opinion on NFTs?
NFTs is a form of art. I don't believe in that in itself. But an NFT is just a non-fungible token, so it doesn't have to necessarily. When people refer to an NFT, that aren't in the crypto space too like deeply, they just think, oh, it's a picture that you can't replicate. But it's a silly concept because you can just make anything and call it an NFT, right? There's unlimited supply technically, and it's just because it doesn't look whatever. But when the NFT provides something like with the Bored Apes, so you can buy, you're not actually just buying a picture of the apes, you're buying membership to these exclusive clubs, these exclusive parties, exclusive servers, and these people all have big money, and when people with big money come together, more money's made, right?
Yeah.
So that's what you're actually buying into. You're buying into that, and that NFT is an unreplicable token that you have that no one else can get into that club with unless they have that NFT. And that's the important part. It's the fact that it's not the art itself. It's the fact that nobody is going to have that NFT, that token, that line of code that you have that guarantees you access to all these benefits. So it's not the art. It's also, there's this thing called like a soul token, right? And once it's embedded onto the blockchain, it can't be removed. So this you can really implement this concept into millions of different things. And one of the best things I've seen it implemented into the idea is for like university degrees and things like this. So you have your first class degree, it's embedded on the blockchain. No one can change that, right? You can't lie to your employers saying you have this, you have that. The employers just bring up your blockchain with your line of code, and they have everything they want to know about you on there. And it's wow, that sounds a little bit scary, but you have your full name, your passport number. You can't lie. It's your block, and it's assigned to you then. And because it's a soul token, which is actually based on the World of Warcraft soul tokens, I believe. Vitalik, he's the one that he's the founder of Ethereum, so but he was a big World of War fan. Anyway, soul tokens, that's where the idea comes from. But yeah, I think conceptually NFTs are a very good thing, but not for the photo, not for pictures of stuff.
It's what they cover up, basically. It's what comes with them.
Yes, yeah.
So it's exactly basically what you're buying is a key to a very exclusive door is what you're seeing. Whereas if you just buy it just create, because that's what I've always wondered is like, well, how does like making an image, like what's the value in that? But obviously it's not what they're doing is they're creating, and I know about the punks and stuff, and that's what you're referring to there. It's obviously Gary V's always banging on about them, and but it's actually not them. It's what they sit behind. What sits behind them. Exactly. Okay, that makes sense. But I do feel like it's a bit of a smoke and mirrors game because they're like, oh, you need to buy these monkeys. And you're like, well, no, it's not. You don't need to buy. You need to buy your ticket to the very exclusive party that it gets you into.
That's what you're buying. That's essentially what you're buying into.
Right.
You can make code that isn't on the blockchain that you can kind of do that with, but it's not the same. It's the security isn't there in the same kind of way because the blockchain is verified by millions and millions of nodes, different users. So it's very. It's actually a big thing in the crypto space. Is that people have edged their bets on the security of cryptocurrencies, but there's so many scams and hacks going on all the time that it makes you really doubt the security of what you're invested into. But yeah, I'm happy. I'm heavily into Ethereum myself. I've staked into Ethereum 2.0. So that's what I'm doing with my crypto at the moment. But I have diversified quite nicely, so my eggs aren't all in that one basket.
There you go, kids. That's where your Fears 2 Rex money goes when you goes into Ethereum.
No, it goes back into Bricks4Pennies.
Funnily enough, when you talk about the security sides of it, I'm sure you did as a seller receive that email from BrickLink this week about which was shared a little bit on social medias about like fake figures and people printing. Right. So I think it was a Luke and the 3PO from the land speeder. Now what I didn't read it properly, but I've kind of read other people's comments about it, and I couldn't decipher whether that the way it was presented was that they are genuine Lego parts that people are reprinting, cleaning and reprinting, and then selling as like these expensive minifigures. How, like, as a seller, does that worry you at all? Is there anything, and what measures could you take there, if any, or is it essentially roll of the dice?
I'll be honest with you, I hadn't personally heard about that, which is a bit concerning. But
it's probably in your junk.
I just haven't checked my email, and I need to start checking my mail a little bit more. I'm out of that. I need to get that back into my habits. Anyway, if the market went tits up, which is I think highly unlikely with Lego, or there's like the looming doubt or ideas behind the fact that the market's gonna go tits up, I feel like I could exit the market quite quickly. Because there'll still be people like quite confident in the market and confident in whatever, and I could like dump what I have, and I could still probably get a profit on it as well, because the desirability with the Star Wars is just there. It's and yes, I haven't thought about it too much, so that answers a bit off the whim, but I'm not concerned personally at the moment anyway.
No,
we'll be all right.
It's I suppose it's more with that, and it does make you think. Like, I never check for misprints. Like, I could notice a misprint 6 months after opening a set and building it, and I'll be dusting and I'll be like, oh, that's a misprint now. So it does make me think, like, is there anything sat behind me that actually isn't, it might be genuine Lego. It's a genuine Lego part, but it's not an original printed piece. But, like, I'm not going to kind of stress too much on
if
that.
nobody can tell, say I have a hypothetical for you. Say nobody can tell that this is the case. Only you knew. How would you feel in that situation?
I'd sell it and not tell anyone.
See, I
on
think
eBay though.
On
eBay, I wouldn't promote it. I'd just put it on eBay. No, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I suppose it would depend how long I'd had it and where I'd bought it from and all of that. But yeah, it's one of them. It's very much if a tree fell in the woods and nobody's around.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's no, it's I just saw it and I thought, I wonder if that's a new thing or if actually somebody's been getting away with it forever. But as you said, the Lego market is probably at its peak right now, and so that when something is at its peak, it attracts people who aren't of that usual community, attract in because they see an opportunity to make money. So it could well have just been that, and most likely has been that.
Yeah, I think this is something I wanted to mention actually. Even though I was buying the Lego at the start of the year, and I was basing my potential profits on what the figures were worth, then I come back and the figure prices are astronomical. Like I had what's Luke's uncle called again? Sorry, don't hate
Uncle
me.
Owen.
Uncle Owen.
Yeah.
I had an Uncle Owen. I didn't know. I didn't know. I had no idea. Like that figure.
It's like £100 figure now. Yeah.
Yeah. And
do you know why?
There's figures. No. What was it again?
So on May the 4th, the gift with purchase was an Aunt Beru with the kitchen. So the Aunt Beru minifigure was essentially to go with the Uncle Owen minifigure, but the Uncle Owen minifigure is from 2014. So it's like took them 8 years to deliver it, but it came in the UCS Sandcrawler, which is, can't see it because I haven't got any lights in my cabinet yet, but it's up there.
Oh, you have the.
I have Uncle Owen, yes, yeah. But nobody cared about that minifigure. I find the Lego community, especially that like the AFOL collector, like as you said, like the old men community. Like sometimes they're like, right, I need that minifigure. We're talking about Revan earlier on. A sealed Revan I saw go up today for 190 quid in a poly bag. I think you sold last year to Stevie. I think they were 100 quid, and then it was like 70 quid, not like unsealed, or it might have been like basically the non-sealed. Just the figure alone is like over £100 now. So it seems like they go up as well, but they never really come back down. I know Cad Bane did a little bit, and the Grand Inquisitor did a little bit, but yeah.
Well, the supply isn't increasing, but the demand. I think new people are joining like the community every day, so there is something with that element there, I think.
Well, it's not just that as well. It's like, so the Ungaloan one was very much around them releasing this other set with this figurine that goes with that. So people wanted that. And you got the Blue Milk Luke with the game. So like there was a bit of that. But then there is, when you think of things like the Grand Inquisitor, Cad Bane, that's more tied to what we're seeing on screen. So like, you know, if people are sitting watching at 8 o'clock in the morning when it goes live on Disney Plus, this character makes a cameo who we haven't seen for years, and they have minifigures like £3, and they know straight away it's going to be a £50 minifigure. They're jumping on things like BrickLink and snapping all the figures up. So
I remember when I bought this small bundle with nice figures, and it came with both of the Inquisitors, right? The fifth brother and the and the other geezer. Sorry,
the Grand Inquisitor, yeah,
Grand Inquisitor. That's the one. And this guy must have been so mad because I can't quite remember the deal I got, but I remember the fact that I got both of them in the set, and I was delivering all my stuff to my buddy's house. And as soon as the trailer came out, and everyone on the Facebook is like, "Oh, anyone got this, that for the sale?" I literally was like, "Jack, we need to go. I need to sell these 2 figures right now." And I sold them at their peak. I think I got like £140 for these 2 figures, and I profited straight away just from the 2 figures after like a week of having this deal off this guy. I was over the moon with that one. I was like, it was really nice. It does.
It'd have been
I think so. I definitely and it's happened with the other figures like the Owen as well. I bought these bundles not on the cheap. I paid a bit more premium price because when you buy off the collectors, you know that they're in good quality condition and they're good figures, you know. So there's nothing to worry about when they come, and it's easy work then. But like the values went up, and I profited like a lot more than I originally anticipated, which is always nice. I did want to say, in terms of like Lego, like I think I previously mentioned this, like my parents never really bought me Lego, and they're never something in my childhood, right? So the nostalgia for me personally wasn't there, but I do love Star Wars, and I've watched all the Star Wars. I think I haven't watched like the last few seasons of Rebels because I never it got to a season where it was a bit stale, and I just never continued on with that. But I do enjoy Rebels from what I watched originally. So I have watched all the Star Wars, and like my dad loves Star Wars. I've grown up loving Star Wars. I get excited when I meet someone that knows stuff about Star Wars. So I do really enjoy getting this Lego Star Wars, and I really like the figures, and I get attached to the figures. But that's why I'm very specifically now. My niche is Lego Star Wars minifigures. Mm-hmm. I don't touch parts. I don't touch like if something Marvel or something comes on the cheap, then I'll buy this. But
they're nowhere near unless you've got that. Is it the original Spider-Man with Green Goblin? Like that, like, and there's only like one of them. Like there aren't many Marvel sets, but I suppose Marvel kind of hasn't been around as long and in the same way, and it's probably been more mass produced. It's more been aimed at kids. It's more been smaller sets. So like, you know, you think of the Daily Bugle and the Sanctorum out now, it's probably going to take 10 years before those figures mature to a point where they are worthwhile. But yeah, there's definitely something special about the Star Wars stuff. It's do you, because you see there you watch, I know I remember like we basically signed off on the last time not talking about Star Wars, and then you know you were like, oh yeah, I'm a big fan of Star Wars as well, so we didn't really talk about that. But do you know like others do? So we touched on there like the trailers and stuff. So right now we've got Andor is the next thing out, and everybody's starting to get really excited for Andor. But do you get that much into it where you start really watching it like Hawkeye, and you're like, not Hawkeye, the Marvel guy, just like like focused in, and you're trying to look for little Easter eggs that might allude to a minifigure or a character or this and that, because you think, or you start then thinking, so okay, Andor, he was in Rogue One. We know this is what happened with him in Rogue One, and this is the prequel building up to him, and it's his origin story. We know that K2SO is basically his droid. So K2SO has gone up a little bit in value, probably just in natural inflation in Lego terms, but it hasn't had that peak. If he shows up, if K2SO shows up, he's going to go like that. Do you look at things in that way, or do you just kind of play the cards you dealt?
I have done. It's the thing is there's people in the Star Wars community that are going by these films frame by frame, and I'm never going to be the quickest to it. And as soon as these trailers come out and you see a certain character, the value shoots up regardless. It's not something I need to predict. Maybe if I could edge my bets a little bit and try and make a big prediction, but then again I could just be left with a load of K2. Sorry, it doesn't seem like I'm a massive Star Wars fan when it comes to the droids. I can't remember the K2 the numbers and the letter K2SO. Yes, I do apologize. And I guess I wouldn't say I'm like a super fan, but I've watched all the Star Wars. I've watched The Mandalorian twice. I really enjoyed The Mandalorian. When everyone was hating on Boba Fett, I loved the Boba Fett. Yeah, actually, this might be an unpopular opinion. I didn't get into. I watched all of the new Obi-Wan series, but the acting, it just didn't feel. It didn't feel like. I don't know. I get into it.
I don't think what you're saying is particularly controversial. I think it is somewhat shared. I sort of described at times as a fan film. I think my opinion on it was a little bit too drawn out. It should have been a movie, like a 2.5 hour movie. It would have just kept that pacing a lot sharper, better, quicker, and to the point. And I think we're all kind of ready for another Star Wars film, and that Kenobi would have been the perfect one. That's my thoughts on it. But I suppose the way I would look at it is, it's not about the kind of the super fan element of it. Is going back to crypto and you're mapping, it's the equivalent of tracking your peaks and your troughs and buy on the dips and all of that. And you're putting that, it's your investment in that. But as you say, you have to be so quick off the mark. But I think going back to our earlier point and K2SO, because I think the way Andor's going to work is there's going to be a couple of series, and every series, and guys, correct me if I'm wrong on this, I believe every series is going to be a couple of years jump, and it's basically going to lead us up to Rogue One. I'm sure it's series rather than episodes where it jumps every couple of years. But if that's the case, we don't know when then K2SO will make his appearance, but surely he will at some point. But is it a good thing to have 3 or 4 on your store? Because people will be like, oh, he's got like 4 K2SO, 5 K2SO. They come in, they don't buy a K2SO because he's no longer 20 quid. He's now 75 quid. But that you've bought them at 20 quid, you sell one, you've made your money. But then also, whilst they're in there, they'll buy up a Jyn Erso or this or that or whatever, So,
well, also, just going back a little bit with the investing into Lego, time in the market beats timing the market in all aspects of investing. You can't time any market really, and if you're holding Lego, you're holding a large quantity of Lego Star Wars figures, you're more likely to make a larger profit if that's your goal than trying to time when the K2 S30 you're going to see him. So that, yes, I think that's if the goal, or if you're trying to make a little bit of profit with the Lego, just being in the market, which is just holding the Lego, is going to benefit you more than trying to time when certain things come out.
No, I understand that. I suppose you can't. If you're chasing down specific minifigures, especially something like that, you'd spend so much time doing that, you would miss your general stock top-ups that will, people are buying off you every day and constantly keeping that drip feed of money coming into you. So, yeah. I get that. on the, I suppose with you're seeing about like uni, obviously unis, your final year at uni is going to be like your most important thing over the next year. So like the Lego and the TikTok stuff obviously is there, and you will continue with that. And you know, it's correct me if I'm wrong, but it's probably going to be back to like a year ago's levels before you went away, like that kind of level of activity.
Yeah.
But as you start to look beyond that, like do you ever think, because I remember we talked about this before about like BrickLink fees and PayPal fees, which actually weren't as bad as I thought, but do you start to then think, well, actually, you know, because of the following that you've brought back with you, which we can all see, do you then start to think, okay, well, I'm paying this amount of BrickLink. Actually, what I can now start to do is I can take people out of BrickLink and, you know, set up my own little website, because it's probably the easiest thing in the world to do now, set up my own website and sell minifigures. Or do you just think it's too far a step, and then how do I get people to come on my website and all that? And like, do you just, how, I suppose the question really is like, do you look beyond BrickLink, and do you know, whilst you may retain a space on there, do you ever look beyond that and start to think how you can kind of further your margins and how you can really break out and carve your own little pocket of space out of that?
So firstly, I'm going to have to pay a transactional fee with whether I have a website or not. I'm going to have to either pay for the upkeep of the website, and then I'm probably going to have a PayPal payment system integrated into the website. So it won't benefit me that much. And the BrickLink interface is beautiful. It works so nicely, and it's very smooth for the sellers. I'm not sure about the buyers too much. Excuse me. And so I don't mind paying 3% to BrickLink because it's beautiful. All my orders come through nice, and it's a beautiful structure. And I don't have to put, because I would have to put a lot of money into and time to build the website. Even though you could just go on GoDaddy, and it will never be as good. It will never run as smooth, because I don't have millions of pounds to spend on running a website as smooth as BrickLink. Right? I think BrickLink does the job it's supposed to do very well. And what I love about BrickLink is it's hard to become a seller. There's such a large verification process that if you're a seller, you're already in like a very nice position. Because the market isn't flooded with sellers, because a lot of people would rather not have to wait 4 weeks to get verified, and they'd rather just make an eBay account.
Yeah.
In that respect, it's very good. I actually saw I've had like, I had crazy like 56,000 visits on my store, and you're not going to get that if you're on my own website.
Totally take that point. And as I say, I think that my surprise was last year is the fees aren't as much as like kind of people who don't know like think they are. So it makes sense. You've got a free shop window there essentially that, you know, you could only hope and dream for if you were a standalone. I know you are planning something else. I know you do have a different other market, but we've just gone past 9 o'clock and you still haven't told us like actually anything about Taiwan yet. So rather than telling us about tell us one thing about Taiwan, and reminder now that we're past the watershed, even though there isn't really a watershed here. So you can tell us anything you want.
Oh God. There's a few stories and whatnot. You'd have to find the way to ease into the story.
All right, let's talk about how was the food in Taiwan?
Food, beautiful. The rice, sticky, nice, beautiful. Did
you cook much there, or did you just kind of eat?
Culturally, there's people don't have kitchens as much there, so they're more inclined to, because there's more family businesses that you go see the local family business, they cook you your food, you give them a little bit, and it's not expensive. It's actually cheaper because of the cost of the raw products in supermarkets. It's cheaper to go and just buy it from these local families, and that you go into their house essentially. It's quite cool. You go into their like they set up like that's where their TV's in there, right? But there's 20 people eating their food in their living room, and then at night they clear up, and then that's where they watch their TV. It's so nice, and it gets to the point like I speak a tiny bit of Chinese now, which is I think that's a really good conversational starter actually. Because they're like, what do you speak a bit Chinese? What can you say? And I can usually say what they say, want me to say straight away. But
have you seen not to sidetrack you, but have you seen there's a guy, an American white guy, who
I know,
can speak fluent Mandarin, and he like goes through the
Chinese
drive.
is beautiful.
Yeah, and like they're shocked when like he pulls up in the drive-through, and then they see who he is.
Yeah.
And I think that's
nowhere near that level, but
it's a hell of a skill to have, though, and I do think it's something we take for granted in the Western world, particularly in English-speaking countries, that everybody speaks English. But actually, to really kind of broaden yourself, a language is a great way of doing that. And I can speak probably 7 out of 10 Spanish. I used to be able to speak like 9 out of 10 Spanish, but I suppose when you're not exposed to it, like it just like it doesn't do that. And you go to Benidorm, or when I've spent most of my time in Spain in Magaluf, like there's more English people there than there is Spanish people. So I would like order my KFC from Juan in Spanish and stuff like that, just to try and keep up with it. But no, I do think there is like a sharpening of the mental tools that is very valued in languages. But yeah, sorry, carry on.
Yeah, I was just gonna say we're very in England. We're very like we're quite culturally ignorant, even though we learn the languages in school. It's not really taken very seriously by many people. So it was very.
Well, I don't
good
know
to get
about
the
you, but
opportunity.
I didn't start it until I went to high school, so like 11-year-old. By that point, you kind of like, and like by that point as well, everything's like your focus is elsewhere. Whereas realistically, you should be starting like 5-year-old, and then at that point, it's second nature. Like you get to 11-year-old, and you're pretty good at Spanish, so or French, or I never understood German. To be honest, I never really understood
German's
French.
hard.
Yeah,
French,
I just don't.
French is.
I just wonder who is like, it's not really like I've been from England, I can understand Spain because quite a large portion of the world speaks Spanish, whereas French probably there is bigger than I can picture, but I wouldn't necessarily see a large part, and then German the same. But I have heard that Mandarin is the language to learn. It's the business language to learn for the future.
I think so, and that's actually why. So when I got there, I had to take a mandatory 4 hours of Chinese lessons per week, right?
Okay.
Which, when you're learning Chinese, isn't a very lot. It isn't a lot. So I took it upon myself I started paying for private Chinese lessons, and I probably spent about probably about £3,000 on private Chinese lessons because I was studying Chinese 3 hours a day, every day, 5 days a week for about 8-9 months, and it fries my brain like. But I'm so happy I've done it now. But it's not. It's just everyone else in my class is a lot better than I because they've been exposed. So we had a Korean guy in our class, and he learned English when he learned Chinese when he was younger. An American guy that teaches English in a Taiwanese school, and he's been here for like a long time. And this other guy who had a Taiwanese wife, and his Chinese was already good. And an Indian Canadian girl that'd been learning Chinese for 3 years, but that was me. I'd never touched the language before, and I'm in class. It made me feel bad, but the pressure was good because it really. Like I'm up at 6 a.m. in the morning trying to keep up with whatever they're doing in class, and yes, and I'm very happy that I've done it, and I kind of it's one of the it's something I really put my mind to, and I'm very happy that I went ahead with it. So yeah.
Will you stick with? Will you try and further your Mandarin then, or
I've since I've been in England, I haven't done as much as I wish I'd done. I have been. There's things going on. I mean, when university starts up, and I can like bring some more structure into my life, and I can basically work it around. But also I want to see if I can take it up as like an extracurricular thing at university.
Yeah.
To continue on with that, because I do have a lot of Taiwanese friends now. To the point where I have more Chinese speaking friends. They obviously speak a bit of English, but I have more Chinese speaking friends on my personal Instagram account than I do English speaking friends, like native English people. So a lot of my Instagram stories will have Chinese in them, so that I can communicate better with my Chinese Taiwanese friends. Yeah,
Sensational.
yeah.
You're a
Sorry.
man of many talents.
Well,
What's the plan with it? Is your uni? Are you at like local uni? Because you didn't go away last time, did you? So,
that was
will you be
online.
staying at home or?
It's in Bristol.
I don't
Borders
even know
say
where you're from.
Hereford, which is borders Wales and Gloucester and Worcester.
All right.
Yeah, so it's like
I'm off to
it's like
Cardiff in 3 weeks.
oh, right. Well,
Yeah,
it's a bit,
there you go.
this is probably about. Oh, I go you near Cardiff on the way to Bristol actually. Oh no, you don't. No, you don't. You go kind of past it on the way, because you have to go in and out of Wales to get to Bristol.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite far, but I have to work out how I'm doing with uni accommodation because the housing prices are astronomical, especially coming back from Taiwan. And I'm paying. They want me to pay about £600 for a
A room.
room, and I have to
Yeah.
share it with 8 other people. And I did that for like 1.5 years, and
It makes
the
all of this very tough if that's the case.
yeah, uni students are disgusting. I need a clean. I'd be in a house with 5 other people, and I'd be the only one cleaning up their pasta, which is stuck to the drain, to the sink, and their rice, which is just clogged up. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
You would
It was.
absolutely draft like a Sheldon Cooper style like roommate agreement if you went to live to these places.
I ended up falling out with. I didn't realize they didn't like. I thought we were all groovy. I was just like, guys, you've got to keep on. Like, this place is disgusting. You're leaving your socks here. You're leaving this there. But in the end, I think the two boys I thought I was quite close friends with. In the end, they didn't want anything to do with me. But which is fine because like they weren't on my course or anything. It was just my
Right.
flatmates.
Is this in Taiwan?
But yeah, no, this is in Bristol in the
Oh,
first year of university. It got to the point where I'd go for 2 weeks and they'd leave all the bins at the bottom of the stairs because we lived on like it was like a 2-story apartment building, but you had to go upstairs to get to it. And at the bottom of the stairs, they'd stack up all these bins and they'd be left there for the 2 weeks I wasn't there, right? Maggots all over the floor. And for about a month, I'm stepping over dead maggots and flies.
oh no.
So the agency we were with would like trying to charge all of us. I'm like, you are not charging me, and I actually got into a bit of a fuss with them as well because they took most of my deposit, the cheeky mother.
Yeah. Come back for them in a couple of years when you've got your law degree.
Yeah. That's what I did. I did want to be like a smart ass and see if I could wiggle my way out of it, but once you're in exam season or whatever, you got no time for it really.
Yeah, I'm sure like the agreements on those things as well, like joint and several. So that basically means that everybody is liable for 100%. So even though you're like, okay, I didn't cause the damage, they're like, well, you're the one that we can get the money from. So like, then we're going to take it. It's not like we'll take 30% off you and then 30% off the others. Yeah, it's just, it is what it is. One of them life lessons, I suppose. How were your roommates in Taiwan? Because I remember you talking and saying you as a male, you couldn't request a unisex dorm, whereas women could. And I think were you shaping up to be in with like a Dutch girl or a German girl or something like that? But I might be totally off. But who were your roommates out there, and were they as disgusting?
So it leads me on to a little story actually. So at first, it's very traditional. This isn't too saucy, but this is very traditional. It's very traditional in Taiwan in terms of how the society works. It's very traditional. So the girls and boys weren't going to be sharing rooms. But that's how I initially interpreted the documents that I got. So which is fine, totally fine. Anyway, so I was for the first part of the year, I was just with one other guy in the room, and then he left. He went to Brazil. Like he's one of my best friends now, actually, Jonas. He went to Brazil, French guy. He went to Brazil for the third time, and he came. He was gone for like a month or two, but because I was in this 6-person dorm, 4-person dorm, all on my own. They moved me to live with this Indian guy who was like 47 years old doing his PhD, which is fine, but it's not fine because it turns out he has this. There's no diagnosis, right? But loud noises, he freaks out. Like he watch YouTube all day, and then he'd get stressed about his work, and it was very childish mentality of how he dealt with his work as well. Like, he wouldn't do anything all day, and then he would do it late at night, and because he was stressed, you make a noise. So anyway, he's in a moment of stress. He's like, Rhys, you need to sweep up the room and do this and do that. And I was like, okay, that's fine. Like, mind you, so in November, October, no, it was November, my younger brother passed away, right? Which is crucial to the story because I didn't want to, in this period of time, I just didn't want to do anything, right? I'm just there in my room. I'm just kind of, but I'm just in my bed, like dealing with my emotions, however I deal with my emotions. And he's like, do this. Like he's like, why are you not sweeping up the floor? But the floor, it doesn't really need sweeping up. It's just a little bit dusty because they get the. Anyway, so I sweep up the floor. Like it gets to the point where like it was a day after I needed to get my mind off whatever was happening, and I was sweeping up the floor, and I pulled the chair, right. So I had to sweep under the chair. So this is my desk. I pulled, mind you, it's not on wheels. I pulled it like this, and it made a noise. And he starts shouting, he's like, why the fuck are you not lifting the fucking chair? And he's screaming in my face of what's going on. And he goes, and then he picks it up and he starts slamming. He's like, you pick up the chair. And then he like lobbed the chair at me, right, at my legs. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I'm in shock. I'm not like, I thought in this situation I'd be like a ninja and I'd start fighting back or something, but I'm in shock. In the matter of about 5 seconds, he's spitting on my face, and I've had a chair lobbed at my knees, right? And I'm like, jibbing, what the was that about? And he carries on, and I'm like, look, jibbing, yeah, the XYZ's happening right now. I do not have like the mental energy to be doing everything you request me to do at whatever time, right? So he kind of simmered down a little bit. He was all right with me, kind of, until like the draft caught the door and it slammed, and he started shouting again. And I was just like, I just dismissed it, and I didn't really speak to him, whatever. And then he tried making amends with me once his exam period was done. So in my head, it's a very confusing situation. I'm like, should I feel sorry for this? Should I feel sorry for this guy that's lobbing chairs at me because he's stressed about his PhD? Or should I just completely disregard him? And like, he's not a big guy, but he's trying to tell me that he can beat me up because he's got a beard. And he very,
It's what we do.
a little bit crazy. Yeah, he's like, I'm more of a man. I have a beard. You don't know what I can do. I'm strong. I'm angry. I was dumbfounded. I really was. And anyway, so my friend comes back. My French friend, beautiful guy, beautiful soul, a little bit smelly, French smelly. His feet are a bit smelly, right? So I'm used to it. I've been living with him for a while. Comes back. Jibbin did not like this, so it comes for a few weeks. Nothing's really said, and we're getting along quite well until Jibbin like he starts telling Jonas he's stinky and stuff like this, and Jonas is like, "You can't say this to me. It's not nice. You have to," and whatever. And so I guess to the point where I've had enough of Jibbin, and I actually leave the dormitories, which was costing me like £4 a day, which is stupid cheap, right? Really nice modern dormitories, to rent out my own apartment, which would cost probably like 6 times as much. No, not that much. It was probably like 3 times as much. I was paying about the equivalent of like £10-12 a day in terms of rent. And I leave, and in the first week I leave, he like kills me. He's like, Jibbin's just punched me across the face because Jibbin, yeah. Listen, the French, Jibbin would not leave him alone. He was just telling him he was stinky. He was like, he was doing his, I can't quite remember how the story goes, but he's just telling Jonas he's stinky, and he's like, and I don't know how Jonas dealt with it. And he goes, "No, I'm not." And he was like telling Jibbin to smell his t-shirt or his pants or something crazy. It was making me die when he told me the story. And this caused Jibbin to like punch him across the face, and he was so shocked by it that yeah. But he stayed. He stayed the whole year living with Jibbin, and he just they just stopped. They didn't speak after that. But I had to leave because Jibbin was just like violent. He was very violent, and he was weirdly racist. I think this is like he hated Pakistani people, but then again, the Pakistani people in the dorm seem to hate the Indian people, and apparently there's like a religious thing going on there that I was unfamiliar about. But they put the Pakistani students and the Indian students on the same floor as if they didn't know there was like and so. That actually brings me to another guy so I was speaking to this other Pakistani guy, Muslim guy, and he's a rampant homophobe as well. And he was living in the room by me, and then he was being racist about this Indian guy that I was living with, and I was glad to get out of there. It was very crazy, it really was, and yeah, it was. Racism is different over there. There's a lot of blatant racism actually.
What I think must be interesting from that, because every racism is a contextual thing that when nobody kind of has the upper hand. So when we observe it here, it's observed very different. And being the white British person, you never feel racially attacked and all that. But when you are in a plethora and mixture of cultures and races and nationalities, kind of like there's a level playing field, and the privilege disappears. So then you kind of like you see different, and also like you get dickheads in every nationality. Like there is always an arsehole, as well as ours. So yeah, I think in that setting where you are all foreign students and kind of nobody is a local, it's that dynamic must get interesting.
I think on the contrary, though, you go there as a white person, you get a lot of positive attention, right? And the life is easier than your average Taiwanese person. The Taiwanese people will say this to you as well, and to the point where I only really spoke English, so that the people that obviously there's people that aren't so well off that speak good English, but you usually find that it's the rich Taiwanese youngsters like my age that speak the best English because they can afford the education, right? So that's the kind of group I ended up getting into outside of my course. And I was living a lifestyle. I wouldn't really have to pay for anything, but I was living a lifestyle that if I did have to pay for it, I wouldn't be able to afford. They're taking me to nightclubs. They're spending £400-500 equivalent on one bottle of champagne, and these bottles are coming out in the tens, right? And I got my own bottle of a £400 Gold Ace champagne bottle, and I'm just sipping. I feel like a G. I feel like I have money. I don't have the money to do that kind of stuff, but I did feel like in that moment, like I felt like a real G. And it's all temporary, and it's only nice because I didn't have to really pay for that, and it was someone else paying for it who has some multi-millionaire father, and and I'm driving around in my friend's like brand new Mercedes convertible because he has his own Mercedes, and because it's a private university, and there's a lot of money there as well. So it was everything's different. It's pretty crazy. I love it.
It's nice to have friends. That's for sure.
Yes, yeah. But I made German friends, French friends, Dutch friends, Indonesian friends, Japanese friends, friends from Hong Kong. You name it, I've probably met or become friends with someone from that country, especially in the Asian countries, because that's where a lot of them were getting their education from. It was quite great. Nice.
But
I think I think the craziness. There's a lot of crazy stuff happening in Taiwan, but the real crazy, the or the unspoken occurs in Vietnam and Thailand. Oh my
Did you go
my!
over there then? Did you?
On my way home, I travelled. I went to Vietnam. We travelled from Hanoi, which is the north, the
Yeah.
capital of Vietnam, all the way down to the south, Ho Chi Minh, and then we went up to the north of Thailand, up to Bangkok, and then we went even further north than Bangkok, and then we came all the way down to the southern islands where the like full moon festival was, and we travelled both of these countries from top to bottom, and you see so many different. Listen, I don't know who's listening right now, but if you, as soon as you have the means or the capabilities to travel, you need to just you need to go to Asia. Like you'll have a good time. It's yeah, it's really
And
good.
yeah, I would definitely see it do it before, like do it whilst you're younger, whilst they're like your age, because then you get to my age and you've got a bit of wealth, or like I'm not wealth, but you've got a bit of money behind you.
Yeah,
You're a bit older, you're a bit tireder, you expect a little bit of luxury and all of that, and you're not going to kind of slum it around these places where typically you have the better fun. Like that's where like the culture and the excitement is. I would go to Thailand and I would go in a 5-star all-inclusive hotel where probably the only Thai people I would see are the people bringing me drinks and serving me food and all
yeah.
that, which
I was
yeah,
living
which
in a I was living in a hostel for £1.50 a day for about 8-9 days in Bangkok,
no.
in the capital in Bangkok, and it's right by the main it's right in the city as well. Very crazy, mind you. I did get very ill after we left in the next accommodation. I do blame it on the lack of air conditioning and damp on the walls, but look after your health. I think that's important.
Indeed, indeed. Um, Thanks for sharing. Feel free to share any more Thailand, Taiwanese stories in Thailand. I'm sure we'll get maybe some offline, or we'll get you drunk sometime, and then we'll get them to
Yeah,
come out. But
definitely over a drink. I think it definitely have to be over a drink. I think.
um, aside from that, though, so but like as Max has pointed out, no, it's all about the person, Max. It's all about the character. But as I said, you've got, before we kind of went off on that tangent, you have come back with a bit of a plan, and you've got your Discord server up now, which I think you're pushing. You've got like 100. This goes back to what I was saying earlier. You've got like 100 odd people in there already now. It's
125, 130.
yeah, absolutely booming. And I know you kind of toyed around with some ideas with that, but where's your head out now? What have you learned about it? Like in the couple of days that it's been there, like what you've observed from other people, what made you, and with the Discord thing, what was it that kind of made you think, yeah, Discord is the place to be, and what's pushed you towards that?
Okay, so the general
Are you going to
idea
say Andrew
behind it.
Tate's Hustlers University is because that's all through Discord?
Oh, is it?
Apparently,
Maybe I
there's a
should.
guy there's a TikToker who, do you know, like people who watch like side hustle videos and then they like debunk
Yeah.
them and tell you how shit they are. There's a guy who's doing that, but he's gone through the Hustlers. He's paid for the Hustlers University and kind of talks through it and like what they're telling you to do. Tells you how pointless it is. But yeah, sorry, over to you.
Right. No, it's fine. So the general premise behind the general idea was to have in the Discord have 3 different sections. So it's divulged a little bit. So you'd have a free section where there'd be like you'd have to pay anything. It's just, I want to build a community. You can share whatever. You can talk about whatever, but it's mostly Lego. There's places on there just to buy and sell Lego. There's places just to share your Lego. I want to start a Lego auction place on that Discord server, right? Where everyone can join. I'm the one speaking. We're doing an auction. I think that'll be quite nice. And so this free section, and then every so often, I was thinking every 2 weeks or even every month, we'd have a free giveaway on this. So I'm making no money on these giveaways. It would just be to give something back to the community in that respect. And then if someone has a bit more of their Lego addiction, then I wanted to build like another group where it was about £5 a month, in like obviously pay to me, but where I'm listing figures for free claim every other day or every day, right? Depending on the value of the figures and sets. And so it's based on, I announce what hour I'm going to release the claim, and then I post a picture of the claim between, let's say, 5 p.m. and 6 p.m. And the first person I see to write claim after that picture's been posted gets sent this item for free, right? Well, they're paying the recurring monthly fee, but I think it's the opportunity. Like, I think it's fairly random because it's within that 1 hour period, and it's whoever's waiting, whoever's active on the Discord. And if you're paying £5 a month, I'd imagine you are going to be more active on the Discord. And it's not, and also that I want to implement other rules where perhaps one guy can't claim one thing after another. He can claim up the next other thing, right? Because obviously it could turn out where it wouldn't be too fair if one guy was getting everything. But I want the focus now just to be on to build. Obviously, I will move over to that area at some point, but I just want to build the community to about 1,000 members. I think that'll be really nice. And I can't imagine how much stuff there will be with 1,000 members, because there's 125 members right now, and the Discord is just beep, 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 beep.
It is loud, isn't it?
They're talking all day, and I love it. And we're just sharing everything with each other. And I guess you guys can see like a different part of my life as well. I'm posting what I'm doing and where I am and whatever, which is quite cool. Everyone's like, we've been talking about gym a lot recently, going to the gym and what people can lift. That's quite cool. And it's nice. Everyone's motivating each other. Everyone's overall seems very nice with one another, and I like it. So the main goal, to build the Discord, the free server, the free channel, and the free areas up to about 1,000 members. And then I will provide the option to go over to the other paid channels where there'll be a lot more figures going for claim, right? So you're paying £5 a month, and after one claim, you're very likely to make your money back on that claim, right? You just got to be active on the server, and I think it will. I think for the majority, it will work out quite nicely, right? Because I'm posting very frequently. You need to just be active, and you're very likely to claim something. I'll have to see how that system works, and if it turns out to be unfair, then I'll have to change it around and whatnot. Maybe like a more of a raffle system, but that's the goal. And there was also a even more VIP section, which I won't focus on for now. I'll definitely leave that for the future, where I can help you set up your BrickLink store. I can provide you. I can give you like the links to everything you need, and you can have your BrickLink store ready to go. And not your store, you have to get verified, but I mean like where to get the draws from, and the best place, the cheapest place to get your mailers from, your stamps, XYZ, to minimize your costs as much as possible, and have a really tailored experience where I'm like a BrickLink helpline, or just a helpline in general. If you're going through anything, I just hop on a FaceTime call with me and I can talk to you. But I need to leave that and see what kind of time I have, because it would be like 10 people, because I wouldn't be able to spread my time any much thinner than that. But
you're
as of now,
definitely
it's
a
on
fan
the
of
free
Andrew
server.
Tate, aren't you?
No, I'm not a fan of I was talking to my friend. My friends have been talking about him a lot recently. I haven't seen too much of his stuff, but
I don't actually know where his stuff is. Like, I don't see any of his, like, him.
No, I don't see his
it's
stuff.
all like people extracting him from other things and posting them on mainly TikTok.
I don't know whether it's satire. If it's satire, it's funny. Like, there's one I saw where he's saying, if you're my friend, you're having a heart attack, just breathe it or walk it off, have a coffee. Like, it's like, obviously you can't do that. It's fairly humorous, but for people to get offended over a comment like that, I think it's a little bit silly. But he does say other things which are which I've seen, which are a little bit misogynistic, and it's not my cup of tea.
I've seen him. I saw somebody talking about him, saying that actually they believe that he's broke, and it's kind of all built on a lie, like their perception. But it's almost like he's gambled on something coming of it, in some way. So obviously we don't know, but yeah, he kind of came out of nowhere, and it seems that he's been on like infinite amounts of reality TV shows over the years. But essentially what he seems to have done is like built a brand and built like an image of himself. that it's almost like he laid the groundwork. Then now he's became popular. People are digging into him and finding all this stuff. And nobody cared about Andrew Tate when he was on Big Brother like 15 years ago, whatever long it was. But they care about it now because they're like, oh, we find all these sound bites and it just keeps him relevant. So he is either just an absolute mental nutcase, or he has played the perfect long con ever.
And I think it's the latter, because I did see a snippet of him. You see the occasional snippets where he breaks character, right? And it is a character. I'm pretty sure it is a character with whatever he's doing. It's always the wow factor. You see, it's always like you see that Cal the Dragon on TikTok. I don't like the fact that he has a lot of people that follow him just to laugh at the guy, because he has actually Cal the Dragon. I'm pretty sure he has autism. I think he said like quite recently he has autism. I don't like the fact, but there's still like a wow factor with how he obviously acts a little bit differently to everyone else, and that keeps everyone watching the videos. And that's what TikTok is really. It's a site just to bully people that are a little bit different. And if you are a little bit different, you're popular, but you're popular for the wrong reasons. And
there's so many, like Francis Bourgeois, and then there's his mate, who I see loads now. The guy who works in Morrison's. Works in Morrison's. Yeah.
I've seen him a lot recently too.
Luke Bennett. He's another one. Like, you know,
my buddy met Luke Bennett a little while ago. Actually, apparently he seemed very normal in person.
Yeah, I've seen videos where it's like him being like forgetting he's in character and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Did you what did you make of, because I've been talking about this, I've done a video on it and I've talked about this on a couple of episodes over the last couple of weeks, but what did you make of the whole TikTok boxing situation? And did you watch it? Did you follow it? Were you aware of it? Because I suppose you were disconnected from it and you came back while it was at its peak, which means you may have kind of gone under the radar with it.
Is this like with like Ed Matthews and stuff like this?
And Simple Simon and
Yeah, I saw snippets or whatever. It doesn't really interest me too much. Nothing really caught my attention there. But I did see that it was a fairly big thing. But I feel like you've watched the YouTube boxing stuff, and I wouldn't watch any. I don't watch any of that anymore. It just doesn't captivate my attention like it did when I was 16.
Well, that was the thing. You looked at the audience. The audience was just full of 15-year-old lads, basically, and their girlfriends. It doesn't appeal to actual boxing fans, and I suppose us who are aware of it, like, you know, I saw the videos, but they were just on my FYP. I wasn't paying the 5, 6, 7 quid or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was an interesting one, because they managed, like, I'd love to speak to those people and have a candid conversation. Be like, how much, like, at what point did you realize you wanted something, and how fabricated was it? Because look, it clearly was, and you've hyped it right up. But like, when did you realize you wanted something here, and went from there, you know? But I think again, it's as soon as you think it's just them, but there's always other people. But you see the real people behind the scenes. They're the people with a little bit of money and their influence and everything that's being said. And there are managers and there are social media experts. They get behind Ed Matthews and HS Tiki-Toki, and it's not just them. They have to keep up their character now, and that's kind of the way. And they go on certain podcasts where they speak like no normal human speaks. You don't say. Again, it's just snippets that I see. I don't actually watch any original content anymore. It's all snippets of other people. But we live in sound bites. We do.
Yeah. You don't. This is quite dangerous actually in terms of misinformation. But you don't walk around saying you want to hold this word, and no one does. I don't believe people genuinely do that with a great deal of success, right? Even if you're a really good-looking guy. Well, actually, I've been to Thailand, and you probably could in Thailand. But in general, I just think it's mostly just an act, isn't it? TikTok's a big reality TV show, and it's you have Luke Bennett, who lives 2 miles from me, doing what he does, and then up the road you have someone else doing whatever. It's just it's a little bit crazy. That's actually why you scroll. You don't know what you're going to see next with TikTok.
Yeah. It's interesting, because I set up my like second spam TikTok account. And with that, I've got like, I always thought my wife who's on TikTok, like she doesn't create content, but she has an account and follows lots of things. And she'd be like, oh, have you seen this video? Like, never even seen that person in my life. And they've got like 1 million followers. And I'm like, well, she's like, how have you not seen this? Like, this person lives on my FYP. I've never seen them before, and vice versa.
Yeah.
I've then set up this secondary account, and I'm kind of seeing that as well, where it's like, it's just amazing how like broad and diverse it is, and how that algorithm is tiered to what it thinks you want to see and what keeps you hooked.
That leads me on to I've got 2 points I want to make. This jumps back a lot. Remind me China TikTok keywords, okay? Actually, otherwise I'll forget what I'm about to say. But I want to jump back. I saw someone make a comment saying, like, this is why I didn't go to university. But on the contrary, I don't know what that was in reference to. I don't know if that was meant to be like a negative comment or whatever. But my university, like, covered and the university I went to, it was all inclusive of my degree. I was paid £700 a month in scholarship. My tuition was covered. My accommodation was covered. I was essentially given so much scholarship that I could afford to purchase my own motorcycle whilst over there, my own iPad that I'm using now. And that was through the power of university and networking within the university and seeing what the university has to offer. And if you take advantage of what your universities have to offer, you can find that you can find a lot of value, and it's down to what you find within your university, because all the universities have these kind of options and things you can do, you know. And I recommend going to university just so you can get on a course that takes you to study abroad for a year, because to study abroad for a year on your own means and your own money is bloody expensive. You don't really have to do it. So that's why I'd recommend uni. Anyway, China TikTok, just fly forward. That's why China have banned TikTok in China, and they replaced it with their own version of TikTok.
Is TikTok Chinese?
Yeah, it's a Chinese brand, but it's been banned in China, right? And it's been replaced with their own brand, a different brand of TikTok, which promotes things more like with like more maths videos and engineering videos, and they tailor the videos to what they need, right? But we're watching in the West, we're watching people dance, and we're getting this dopamine from people doing these cheap dances, and this is why TikTok's so destructive, because the owner of TikTok can manipulate a whole generation and what they see and what they're exposed to, and that's why it's dangerous.
Well, have you seen? It does make you think, but I know Joe Rogan did I think it was only a week or two ago, basically broke out the privacy policy and read through the privacy policy of TikTok and broke it down. Right. It was basically like they can go, so they can see what you're looking at. They can then see what you're looking at on other apps on your phone. But then through, like, if you've got like Apple and stuff or connected devices, they can even see what you're doing on devices that are connected to you that TikTok isn't even on. So like and it makes me wonder how Apple, like, because I swear by Apple, and the one thing I love about Apple is the security they offer. Like it always gives me that peace of mind. But it makes you think, why would like Apple allow TikTok to, you know, I've got my iPhone, I've got my iPad, I've got my MacBook. You know, does that mean that, you know, because it's connected through that same Apple ID, that, you know, they can see what I'm doing on my MacBook and they can see what I'm doing on my iPad, and TikTok's not there? Bloody hope they can't. But, you know, that's the way it read. And then, you know, a couple of days later, you know, Downing Street have closed down their TikTok account because of worries of like serious like security risks. And you just think like, shit, like this is a bit crazy. And then obviously, you know, we've always felt somewhat vulnerable to China, but like this sort of thing, it's, you know, I said this, so I don't know if you've noticed, but when you've come back, because it'd be interesting to get your take on this, but TikTok now is very different in the sense of like everything's about selling shit and everybody is a seller.
It's like a QVC. It's like the QV. It's crazy.
It's not even like that. So there was a period when it was all like people stood in front of a camera displaying stuff. People just do, because anybody now can be TikTok shop, where they like are like, oh, I can't believe like you can get Lucozade for 99p, and then you'll see the like Lucozade, and you're like, what? And I remember when they first unlocked that, and I'd said this to Jamie, the brick educator, and he was like, "Oh, I've put a couple of things in there. If you want to buy them, then they're there." And obviously, he gets a bit of commission. And somebody commented, it was like, "How can they sell them so cheap?" And I was like, "It's got nothing to do with sales. It's data harvesting, because we as creators, they get our data, so they know who we are because we sign up as a creator. And if you want to be in the creator fund, you have to give them information. But there's a lot of anonymous like viewers of TikTok, and what they're then doing is they're basically, they're getting your name, your delivery address, probably an email address, a port, and a telephone number. They're building a profile on you and who you are, and they're charging 99 pence for a water bottle that's like this big. But it's, what they're buying, actually what they're getting from you is not the 99p. What they're getting is a profile of data on who you are, which they will continue to build upon, because data is the real power player going forward.
It really is. But well, especially for like advertisement, and advertisement is a very prominent industry in today's society. Yeah, I didn't quite understand what the TikTok shop was, and at least 75% of my videos are TikTok shop. They have something in relation to the TikTok shop, right?
Yeah.
Even if it's just people reviewing the item on TikTok shop and they're not looking to sell it, but even if the people who watch the review buy it, they're still getting a commission. It is super crazy.
It's a weird concept, and I would love to know, like, 99 pence 4-pack of Lucozade or something, like how much does that seller get of that? But I suppose they all see it as passive income, like, oh, if I do that, then. But who's buying from these videos as well?
I haven't bought anything, but I'd imagine there's like a delivery fee that's more extortionate than the price itself.
Well, the missus bought one of them 2-litre water bottles that are absolutely massive. Like, it's just like you stood there for like 3 minutes filling it up. She bought one of them, and I was like, okay, fair enough. But yeah, it's a weird space, and I'd imagine, as I say, you observed that coming back to TikTok, it's a very different. The algorithm is different. The people are different. Like, what have you noticed coming back?
It doesn't feel too different.
Don't
really.
contradict me, Rhys.
Honestly, like in terms of my own personal thing, like obviously the people I started when I started TikTok, I think you were one of the people that got me onto TikTok originally, actually, and I think you had maybe like 15,000 followers, and there's a lot of people like that, like Bricks4Pennies, and everyone's got a lot more followers now, and it's nice to see that you guys are doing really well in that respect. But that's the only difference I can kind of see, where people I started with have a lot more followers now, or there's a few people that just don't do the TikTok as much. Like Dawik had whenever I mentioned Dawik in my videos, the video would blow up, right? But then he stopped making his videos.
Yeah.
And obviously his progress didn't, like, it stopped up a little bit then. But I think he's coming back now, and I think he's going to come back with a bang, because Dawik's got a good influence on his fans as well.
Yeah, it's funny though. So Dawik, if you're watching, take note on this, because I noticed on his video the other day. So the algorithm is always changing, and Dawik's kind of trademark was, don't scroll. I've got this to say. TikTok is suppressing those videos, like, or whether is it that TikTok suppressing them, or are people sick of being told don't scroll? Because for a long time that's what like everybody was doing. So, and if you notice, everybody's got a lot more comfortable with TikTok over the last year. Like, you see, like, you probably, when you moved away, it was a lot of more creators tended to be more people like conscious creators, people who thought, I fancy being a content creator. What we're seeing a lot more now is people who just like capture a moment, or they'll kind of like, they're not a creator, but they'll kind of dip in and out, and they'll capture stuff. So things tend to be a bit more organic. So doing the whole don't scroll thing just doesn't fit with the model of TikTok anymore. But yeah, that algorithm is always changing as well. But yeah, it'd be good to, like, he was just, he was always live, he was always, but he is getting older, isn't he? He's getting to that age where, like, girls,
you may feel a little bit awkward about it, and
he's, he's, it's like
I've noticed he's lost a lot of weight around his face, and he
He's got a
looks older.
strong
He
jawline
sounds
now. Yeah,
he
he
does
has.
he sounds he looks and sounds a lot older now, which is something that may be influencing his he might be getting into the girls a little bit more, or the boys, whichever way it's going. And well, we'll have to see. We have to get
We will.
Dalek on, and you have to interrogate him a little bit.
Well, one day, he just needs to. I suppose the thing is, as long as he's enjoying what he's doing, I hope that he doesn't kind of like force himself back. And I think one thing, and you might kind of recognize this, is I think even a lot of people are a lot more casual about it all now. Like I don't make 3 videos a day. I don't post every day. I don't go live 3 times a week. I don't even go live once a week. Like, and I suppose we're in the peak of summer at the minute, so like it's always a bit of a dead time for it. But as we get up to Christmas, like that's and everybody's indoors again, that's when it'll all kind of pick up. But and that's when it like you see people a lot more active. But as long as he's just enjoying what he's doing, then that's the most important thing in that sense.
I think that's how I see TikTok as well. For me, I just make the there's no like there's not really any quality in the video. It's more
but I would say what I would say is your videos now are more fitting, so that your style is the same as kind of when you went before, but I would say they're more relevant today and they're more fitting with kind of what you would expect to see on TikTok than they were kind of before you left. So definitely keep an eye on that. I know you're like, from my algorithm head kicks in sometimes, and I see that you've posted like 3 videos in 3 hours, and I'm like, Rhys, what are you doing? Give them time to breathe. Like you don't want to stack your own videos, but like you literally don't give a shit when it comes to stuff like that.
No. I just upload when I don't have anything in my drafts. I just kind of, hello, this is I've got a packaging video, done. I'll edit it a little bit and then post it. I just like to, if I did spend more time editing. Also, I have this iPhone 12 mini. As soon as I start editing, it lags, it heats up, and I just can't. Like when I edited that £30 mystery box, it was perfect. The timing on every text was perfect. I upload it and it just says £6.14 all throughout the video. So, but
nice. Yeah, it's stick with it and just have fun. Good to see you. I think I've seen you once or twice on live and stuff. Have you caught, I'm interested to get your, because I think this is like made for you, but have you caught sight of what Epic Bricks does and uses that Whatnot? Now I think Whatnot is only available in America, but I'm assuming it will come here. But it's a bit of a combination of TikTok Live and eBay, and you go live and people register. They've got the payment details incorporated. You make your bids. I think M&R was pushing it as well. And have you seen it? Would you fancy a bit of that? Like it feels right up your street, because then you've got like the payment mechanism is built into the app, and the people are kind of they're honored to pay when they make a bid. And you've done a couple of the the Instagram auctions as well, haven't you? Do people let you down and just like bid and then don't actually pay, or what? And
or they'll just say in the live chat, they'll just be like £1,466, and you're just like, oh, you've ruined it for everyone now because whatever. But it happens when you're dealing when your audience is a little bit younger than you. It's how it's kind of, obviously I don't want to generalize my audience, as I know there's people that are like in their 30s, which is cool as well. But yes, but like in general, there's a lot, like in my Discord server, the main age range is between 14 and like 16, I think. So that's kind of where I'm tailoring to. Well, that's as far as I know, because if you're 13 and under, you can't join, or if you're 13 and over, you can't. I don't know which way it is.
Yeah, they're totally getting around that, by the way.
Yeah. How old are you? 14. No, that's all you have to do. But that's what I've seen so far. But Whatnot, I really like Epic Bricks, because when I'll join his live and he'll acknowledge me straight away, and he'll start a conversation up with me, however like busy he is in the live stream, and it's really nice. And he was telling me, he wasn't telling me personally about Whatnot, but I stayed after I spoke to him about about, because he watches some of my videos, and he was bringing up. He was like, oh, I saw this video, and I was like, oh, cool. And he started talking about Whatnot and what it was, because he's like he's promoting it now. I think he gets paid to promote that, which is really cool. But it's a good idea. I'll give it a try when it comes to the UK. It might be if and when it comes to the UK, I definitely will give it a try.
I mean, I would definitely do it. I've got a couple of figures that I just think I'll move some stuff on, and I just think like be a great way to do it, push people over, and just like look, because I've thought about doing the Instagram thing, but you can't be bothered with then, or like you've got to make a note of who it was, and then they're like, oh, sorry, like oh, I don't want it anymore. Like I like that joined up. And Epic is awesome. I've never had him on here, and I need to get him on here, because then to kind of my point from earlier about the specials that I've done, I would love to do a BrickLink seller one, because they've got you, we've got Olivia, would have him, got Harvey, like Darth Walker, we've got Mac Bricks, who uses Brick Owl instead. So there's a good mix of like different sellers and different perspectives, and talking about like passing tips on. So yeah, obviously Ellie as well, who I'm sure you remember fondly. So Bricks and Bimbos, she's a seller as well. So there's plenty to kind of choose from. But it'd be cool to get a perspective on that. But I'll keep an eye on that Whatnot, and I'll let you know, because it'd be good to. I think you could just have a lot of fun with it at the same time as well as. But it'd be interesting to know what they're charging. But hopefully, if they're new, they're coming in quite cheap.
Is it just Lego? Is it, or is it?
No. I think you can go on and do anything, but they really see that kind of thing for. They see that opportunity. They really see that money in the Lego market. So, as a lot of people, just so not to dwell on it too much, but because we're running out of time. But from a like when you went away last year, obviously COVID was still a thing and all of that. So like not a lot was really happening. Conventions and stuff was starting to happen, but they were very controlled. Whereas, as you touched on earlier, you just don't like everything's back to normal now, right? So when you think about like the Bricks4Pennies brand, or like even just for your own enjoyment, have you started to size up things like Lego conventions to go and check out and potentially buy or even sell, or even like Comic-Con stuff just as a fan or anything like that, or Star Wars Celebration that a few of us are going to in London next year? Do you any of that float your boat?
It does. Now you mention it, I'm wondering why I haven't been to like a Lego convention or something like this, but I think it has crossed my mind. And the thing is, like, I'd be there to buy, right? I it's nice to see all these figures, but in my head, I'm not jealous, but I'm just like, I want your £20,000 collection right now, and I'll give you the cash. Like, I want this collection, and that's all that'll be on my head. But I know these collectors, this is their hobby. This is what this is their life outside of their 9 to 5, and you're not gonna squeeze a single clone out of their 20,000 piece clone army.
Yeah, and the problem is at Lego conventions, they know what it's worth, and everything's heightened anyway. The reason I asked that actually is I don't know if you've seen like the likes of Matt Mellish, Marcus, like basically all the stud buds are there. There's everybody. Epic is there. They're all at like Brick Fair, Virginia, which looks amazing. I doubt we'll ever kind of have anything to that level, but I think there are a couple of Lego conventions there. Even if you go as just like a social, like as Bricks4Pennies, rather than you go for the social side of it and the social media side of it rather than that. But it's it'd be a good place to go.
Maybe we should fly over to Virginia in the next event, and
I'm considering it. I might go next year.
Cause some noise over there, Opie.
Absolutely, the Brits are here.
Yes, I'll be 21 as well, so I was
going to say you'd be 21. So, like, can you imagine if the Brits descended on Brick Fair, Virginia?
I think it'd be fun. I think we'd make some. I think the collaborate. How crazy would that be? Seeing like me, you, Epic Bricks, and whatnot in one video. I just don't think that's anything I would have considered. Like, I think that would be.
No, it would.
I think that's quite crazy, really.
It would. And a big thing for me now is like gone past that 1 year. And one thing I'm really looking at is doing a lot more of like this face to face. So Henry came over last week, if you know Henry Calvert.
I was going to say because you met Henry Calvert, and I don't think I recalled ever really seeing Henry Calvert before. But I went through all his videos, and they're really quite good. And I was going through liking them all, and I followed him, and that it really works. Like the fact that you met him, like, caused that connection to be built there. You know.
So it's funny with Henry. He was the second guest on the Opie-Verse, but at the time he was quite relatively unknown. I mean, he'd still had like 15,000 followers, and the great thing about him was that he hey dude, how's it going? Henry is just Henry, and he didn't play the game. He didn't like kind of do the whole trends and hashtags and sounds and stuff. He was just Henry. And then like you'll have probably seen the video that, you know, he was just like, I'm going out tonight, and he just did a video of him getting ready, going to a gig, and that was it. That was like everything changed for him from there.
The fact he's just himself, you know. He is who he is, and he's an interesting guy. He does his comics. He's not ashamed. He's not shy. He likes to tell people about the stuff he does, and not in a bad way, but in like a very like entertaining. I think it's so cool, and it's very rare that you see someone that's so. That I'd imagine like his person, he's so transparent with who he really is when it's on his TikTok, you know.
And exactly that. He is, you know, he is absolutely who he knows who he is. He's comfortable with who he is, and he's got like I've been doing this for nearly 2 years now, and like I still get somewhat uncomfortable filming in public. He's walking down like the main strip in York on the way to the comic book store, somebody pointing a phone at him and he's talking, and you know, absolutely applaud that. And he's probably, you know, he's probably got like 3 security guards for him when he's in York now. He's that well known, but
he's quite well known in York, is he?
Well, I would imagine now. I mean, he's been on the radio and everything, but he's. I mean, and not just that. He's everywhere. But yeah, he's a top guy, Henry, and he's somebody that, you know, when you see, going back to like the other guys from earlier, things like Andrew Tate, then like HS Tiki Toki, and you know, Ed Matthews, and all of this thing of like creating a character and feel like you have to maintain a character to really like. Henry is the absolute kind of proof and evidence that actually there is value in being yourself. There is just value in you being you. And yeah, he's off to like premieres left, right, and center. And
I did see, he's watching the movie. Yeah.
What I love as well is that he's given those experiences to like his friends and family. So he's like, he took his little brother to the Thor premiere, and like he's hitting like he took his uncle to the Doctor Strange premiere because it was his uncle that introduced him to it all. And you just think like, yeah, that's amazing. Like to recognize those things and go on from there. But yeah, man, I mean, like, do you get around much? I suppose with uni it's tough, but like, do you get into London much, or do you get up to Birmingham much? And because there's conventions everywhere at the minute. I
haven't been traveling much because I don't have my driving license because I ignore that noise. But I've come back and I've redone. As soon as I got back, I had to redo my theory. I did it straight away. I passed it straight away, and I was like, I'm gonna book my driving test. I can't even book a driving test until I can't even book it until mid 2023 because of the backlog from COVID.
Nah, is that not because? Are you trying to book it through an instructor though? Because didn't all the instructors just book up all the slots? So then if you book it through the instructor, they have stuff more.
Oh, is that what they did? I just went onto the government website and I was just trying but it was all full.
Because then if you did that, you would have to provide your own car. But if you just start ringing around like local driving schools, they'll no doubtedly have slots because they all start booking them up. But yeah, need to get it done. Changes your life, especially for you, like for just to open your world up. But
well, I had it in Taiwan and Vietnam and Thailand. I could, because you drive around on a scooter like when no one cares, right? So I'm driving. So I had it. I was traveling up and down Taiwan. I'd travel 3 hours down the road for whatever, and it was easy, you know. Like Yeah, I do. It is very freeing, and also, yeah, I can't go to places like that where I want to go. But I am going to London on the 12th of August actually to meet a friend that I met in Taiwan. No, in
Nice.
Thailand. I met a friend in Thailand, and now I'm going to meet her in London on the 12th.
Ah,
How crazy is that?
okay. Nice. I'll enjoy that one.
Yeah, I will.
Indeed. Well, mate, I'm going to call it because we've just absolutely blagged it for 2 hours, but it's been.
Yeah, my buddies are trying to call me to get down. They want me to go down to Wetherspoons.
I did see somebody comment earlier on saying, what do you want for a drink? But yeah, mate, get yourself away.
Oh.
Absolutely loved seeing you again. Obviously, we'll talk infinite more times between now and whenever, just with you now being back and active. Guys,
Yeah.
if you are not already, do check out Bricks4Pennies. His link is below. All of his links are below. That'll kind of take you wherever it is you need to go. And then my links are here or down there as well if you're not already following. But what's the plans for this week? What can people expect from you other than spontaneous packaging videos as they come to you?
Yeah, I probably, I think I've got like 10, 12 orders I need to pack. I was meant to pack them today, but I fell asleep. I fell asleep just before this live stream, and I woke up at 7:54. Right.
I was wondering why you were a bit late.
Yeah, I woke up. I was like, and I'm dazed. I'm like the times. I'm like, is that the time? And I'm like, oh, all right. So I luckily for me, I managed to get here on time. But what have I got? God, I got a lot of studying, and then I'm just studying Chinese. I'm structuring my course ahead, so I'm prepared to set sail with that. I'm obviously going to London, packaging videos, and I go to the gym 6 days a week, and then that means I've been sleeping a lot because I go gym, and then I come home and I eat a big meal, and then I sleep for 3-4 hours of the day. I'm just out. I'm knackered, but that's just how it is.
It's a tough life, Rhys. It's a tough life.
It is, yeah.
Try doing a full-time job, go to the gym, all of that. You know, that's where I am. But yeah, it's one of them. But guys, I just saw someone comment on it earlier, but I am planning a giveaway, but I didn't get a chance to arrange it. But what I'm going to do, because I haven't done it in a while, we get the new Lego magazines out this week, so I'm going to, well, certainly the Star Wars one, which is the Mandalorian Loyalist. So I'm going to pick up one of them, and I'm going to collect some magazines for a month, and then I'm going to give them away as a package deal for someone. So I'm going to just start promoting it now. So stay tuned. I'll put out information across this channel and across other channels, just keeping you all posted. But if you fancy winning a couple of magazines, then this is the place to be. Rhys, again, and thank you everybody who has joined us. It's been a pleasure to have you again here for another 2 hours.
Thank you, Opie. Thank you.
Thanks everybody for joining us. Enjoy the rest of the evening. Enjoy the rest of your day. Have a great week, and I'll speak to you all soon. Rhys, this is the bit where we wave awkwardly until it goes out. See you until the next time.